shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Wilsey, bringing over 15 years of ed tech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to another episode of The Pulse, live here at the ASU+GSV Air Show. I have the pleasure of speaking with Howard, the president of New England College of Optometry. Howard, how's the event been for you so far?
So far, it's been great. Actually, it's my second time attending ASU+GSV, and I was so inspired the last time I was here. Expecting to have the same this time, but so far, so good. I mean, a lot of attention on AI, which there should be. I think we're all trying our best to deal with it through our academic programs, how we can manage it, but also how we can make the most of the opportunities that we have.
So give our listeners a little bit of background. How did you get to New England College of Optometry? Because before we hit record, you let me know you did not grow up out of the faculty side of higher ed, and that's pretty unique for our industry.
Yeah, Mallory, that's true, actually. I had the fortunate opportunity to be on the board of my institution. I'm a second-generation graduate of the college as well, so it's always been a special place for me. But no, it was not part of my career path. I graduated from school, joined my father's practice. I'm from South Florida. Enjoyed that very much. We train eye doctors, just to give a little context there. Joined my father's practice, also an alum of the college. Spent 10 years in total there, but in the meantime, I did have 5 years of experience in academia. A new optometry school opened in Florida. Joined that faculty. Shortly thereafter, though, 25 years in industry. So Johnson & Johnson for 13 plus years, and a company called Essilor. That's the largest spectacle lens maker in the world. So big Fortune 500 type companies. Never imagined I'd be in this position, but it's an incredible honor to come back to my institution and try my best to leave it a little bit better than I found it. But what I have found is an incredible opportunity at the moment. So much is changing. And I think perhaps my background being a little bit different, coming from outside, we have an incredible dean who's been in his role and has worked his way up the ladder like most. So I think between the two of us, we have great debate and discussion. Hopefully it ends up being in the best interest of our students at the college.
Had a lot of conversations here at the Air Show, and for sure a key theme has been higher ed is ready for disruption. What's your take on that?
Higher ed is ready for disruption. Sometimes it's hard for someone who comes in from the outside a little bit to be so bold as to say those things. So I'll blame it on you in this case. But
fair enough.
But no, I think now that I'm here for 6 years, so July, some of my friends are telling me I can't say I'm not an academic anymore after 6 years. But no, I think there is such opportunity. Think about it. AI is one big one, obviously. We have artificial intelligence, virtual reality, 3D printing, and in my space, telehealth. These things are changing our world. It's exciting. The generation going through school right now will be the ones to decide how we use these and implement these. In the end, it's about how we care for patients better, at least from our standpoint and what we do. And there are so many opportunities here. We put together artificial intelligence and human intelligence. We know the outcome of that is kind of a 1 + 1 = 3.
What are some of the primary goals for the college during your tenure?
Wow, that's a big question.
Big question.
We have another hour or so for this.
We can pack it in.
I'll answer it this way. I identified in my mind 2 key issues that we have, and I think they're shared among many of my colleagues: debt and applicant. I mean, those are sort of big bucket issues. At my institution now, it's $47,000 or so a year to go to optometry school. That's post. You have to have your undergraduate degree coming in. We have to address the issue of debt. Right now, we have a wonderful supply and demand opportunity for our graduates. So what we're trying to do is get the industry to help pay for some of the education for students. A quid pro quo. They'd say to you, Mallory, guess what? When you graduate, we have a wonderful job for you. We'll pay for 2 years of your education. It's a 4-year program. So we'll pay for half your education. You give us a year and a half for every year that we pay. They love it. They now have an employee that they know at the end when they're leaving, when they're going to join their clinics, their hospitals, their private practices, their retail environments, whatever it may be. The student has half the debt when they graduate, and the college gets its full tuition. So we have a very nice opportunity here. We're trying to take full advantage of it, and our industry has been incredibly supportive. Our first year of the program, which was last year, we offset about $1.3 million of student debt. This year we'll have 7 companies participating. We hope to offset, do the math, a couple million, north of a couple million. So it makes a difference. We're a small school. We're almost 600 students, give or take. We have a couple of international programs and then our core program. So for us to offset that kind of money is incredible, and we appreciate the support we get from our industry. I know we're not the only ones doing that, but in an eye care program like we're doing, it is a bit unique, but it's been a huge difference maker. And then the other side is applicant pool, making sure we're getting the best, a diverse applicant pool. In medicine, if you want to choose a clinician that looks like you should be able to do that. And therefore, the only way we achieve that is if we diversify the students. We don't just create doctors. They have to go through school. So we continue to feel an obligation to assure we're representative of our communities. Because we know if you choose to have a doctor who looks like you, the outcomes are better. There's better trust. Those things are critically important in the success of what we do. So that's what we're thinking about, right? I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, but for me, directly answering your question, those are the 2 things that come to mind.
That's incredible. I wish more institutions were able to innovate around the debt components that you mentioned. I mean, that is such a challenge for today's students, to say the very least. And it seems like you have taken some different paths to finding solutions, and it's just quite impressive. Now, let's keep talking about the students for a moment, because as Pulse listeners know, we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, and that is indeed a key theme here at the Air Show and Summit. So from the president's perspective, I am so curious to know, how are you enabling your administration and team members, your staff, around the uses of generative AI and using AI in a responsible and ethical way? Can you sound off on that?
I can sound off on it, but I will say we're still in a very steep learning curve at the moment, especially in medicine. So I have 2 components to what I do, and many of your listeners may. We have a clinical component and a didactic component. Let's start with the clinical component. Incredible opportunity. I mean, there's no question. I'll give you one example of a tool we're using now. So if I have a patient sitting in front of me that has some odd thing that I'm not really exactly sure of. Next to me now, I have a bot that can give me any information, any research information that was published in the past 5 minutes anywhere in the world about that particular subject. So consider yourself that patient now. You have my expertise over years of observation and discussion and learning, but now you also have this opportunity to aggregate a ton more information that you can utilize to better serve that patient need. Just one of many, many examples. On the didactic side, what is exciting me the most, to be honest, is the opportunity to have sort of a personal tutor, personal coach. What we can do is embed all the information about our courses, and ours are much more limited. We're not a big 4-year university. We're very focused on what we do. So you could have your very own tutor, your very own bot that would be able to work with you, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then implementing those with what all that data and information that is accessible. So just a couple examples, but I have to admit, we're very much in the learning curve. Now, you did touch on a point about doing it the right way and being cautious, and I think mindful of that, and that's critical. But I would say we don't currently have the expertise. We rely on so many others to help us with that. That's why we're at a program like this for this week, and that's why we try as often as we can. Our industry is trying to do a lot of things to secure it. But I heard someone tell the story, and I thought it struck me. And maybe I'm old, so I remember this, but back, I think it was 1997. I think that's right. When this big chess match between Kasparov or some very famous chess master, and I think it's Deep Blue or something, a computer. And Deep Blue finally beat the master. And this person was telling a story and saying, well, we still play chess. We're still very competitive when it comes to that. We may know there's something out there that maybe could do it better, but it still exists. It still takes place. So we try to be as optimistic as we can while keeping our guard up and understanding. Now, in our case, it's easier to say. Our students don't write big essays. Our students are not engaged in the same type of activities that I know many of my colleagues in the undergraduate world are. But we still have our challenges. We still need to be mindful of it. But for now, I say bring it on if it makes us all better. By the way, we have areas of the country that are incredibly underserved. If we can bring telehealth to those areas and utilize AI to help at least do the triage component to get people to where they need to be, get them the best care they need to be, that's where we're looking for the opportunities. Again, keeping a guard up a little bit to make sure we're cautious about it, but this is just another one of those incredible leaps we take in technology that give us an opportunity to be smarter and better and broader in our scope and broader in our ability to reach people we otherwise haven't been able to reach. So we need to tie these things together. Telehealth, AI, the pieces and components that right now seem very disjointed in many ways, bringing those together to serve the people we serve. And I think that means academically or clinically, really.
Terrific. So what are your goals for being here at ASU+GSV?
Of course, to talk to you, Mallory.
Well, clearly you flew all this way
Yes,
just
yes.
for this
that
interview.
was one of the main things. I came here last year for the first time, and I was so incredibly inspired. I had a chance to work with John Katzman, who's sort of a legend in this space, I know, for many people. And John really introduced me to a lot of great people. So at least I know a few people now. Last time I came, I didn't know anyone, but fortunately, John was incredibly gracious that way. So my goal here, really, I'm a sponge. I'm just taking in everything I can possibly take in. I'm learning every day. I want to bring back to my team. Very few independent medical programs here. One thing I want to encourage is my colleagues to come here, to be inspired. We are so traditional in the way we deliver medical education. I say that with all due respect. I'm in it. I'm involved in it today, but we need to modernize it. We need to understand that learners learn differently and not keep delivering it in the same way we've always done. PowerPoint, go study, memorize it, come back, take a test. There are better ways, and not everyone learns that way. So for me, it's trying to understand all the incredible things that are being done by colleagues all over the world. This meeting brings those people together. It's hard to take it all in sometimes. It's a bit overwhelming, but incredibly inspiring. And so I hope to be inspired as I was last year and to bring back some thoughts and ideas that we can begin to implement. I think that my team will run in the other direction when I get back, as last year when I returned and all these ideas of things I wanted us to do or at least look into. But no, looking forward to hearing more. So far, so good. And really very interesting talks already, and just grounding us a bit on debt and on, the issues of teaching and learning, which I'm honestly learning every day, but have a great team around me who's been doing this for a long time. So I would encourage anybody who's in this space. This is a, can't miss meeting in my mind, 2 years in, but it has proven that to me. If you really want to be inspired and get an insight into where the best of the best are spending their time, investing their money, looking at ways to improve what we do, this is the place to be. And San Diego's not so bad.
It's been a little rainy this weekend, though. Come on, California could have done better. But that said,
Today's beautiful.
Today is beautiful, and I will not stand in your way of getting back out to the sun or back out to all of that inspiration.
Of course, I'm going back to work now, of course. Yes.
Howard, how can listeners find you if they're looking to connect with you after this interview?
Yeah, I would love it. So simple one is email. So Purcell, Purcellh at neco.edu. NECO is the New England College of Optometry. Please get in touch. I have to be honest and say that in our efforts to modernize our education, we have hit some obstacles. Primarily those come from our accreditors. And if people have some ideas, thoughts, are working on some of the same things, I know my nursing colleagues are doing some wonderful things. We've been in touch with many of them doing a great job. We share similar issues because there's a clinical and didactic component. If there are thoughts, ideas, or ways that I can share what we've learned, we've made a few mistakes along the way, as anyone does when you're trying to sort of go into new territory, but love to have any dialogue. That's one of the reasons I'm here. I love talking to smart people who have similar thoughts and ideas and dreams of where they'd like to see education go. And to me, this is a great place to do it. But please, anyone, email me. Happy to have a conversation, talk about the trials and tribulations of trying to do new and different things in education.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule. We so appreciate it here on Pulse. And we'll see you next time.
The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month. And we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.